Ladies and giants, yes, I know, because of course I've got Big Steve here with me. Not just a clever name, his name is Steve, and as you can see. So we're going to do a little review on the 4003, and well, let's have a listen to it first, and then I'll get Steve to tell you what he thinks. Let's go.
Hi everyone, this is pickup time on the 4003. Same riff, this is the bridge pickup first of all. Going into the centre, both pickups. Warmer. And this is the neck. The interesting part of this is I play a vintage jazz VJ74, and in my limited experience with bass guitars, that's quite an easy play. This one is a much bigger sound. I found it a little harder to play. It's a much chunkier instrument than mine. It's brilliant to be on. The sound of it's a crashing sound. I love it. But it wants a bit more digging than the vintage, I think. I can play that one a little quicker than I can play this. Maybe it's just because I've never been on one before and it's a case of getting used to it. But certainly the bottom string particularly makes a real good dig to get something out of it. The higher up you go, actually, the easier it gets. But the bottom E string feels quite thick. But I love the tone that comes out of it all the same. We've been rocking along to a blues track before. It did sound great.
So that was Big Steve from Absolute Beginner Bass, who has very kindly joined me for this excursion into Rickenbackerness. What we have is, of course, a through maple neck. And so that means that basically you've got a big stick running right the way through the centre of the guitar, from the neck right down to the body. And this one, as you can see, is in Jetglo, or let's face it, it's black, isn't it? So we've got the raised Rickenbacker embellishment on the truss rod cover. Obviously you've got 4 massive tuning keys. Around the back we've got open gear tuning machines, as you can see, and that very, very distinctive headstock that, let's face it, has been copied time and time again. Also, you've got a lacquered fingerboard with the sharp tooth inlays, which is all lovely, and I will show you how to distinguish a real Rickenbacker from one of the myriad of fakes that are out there. The Chinese ones particularly are well known for copying these, and instead of Rickenbackers we call them Chickenbackers, because of course they come from China. So we've got 2 pickups on this. I have removed and let me show you this if I can find it. I have removed the bridge pickup cover because the main reason is that it makes damping very, very difficult to achieve. So that's why that is missing, but of course it is present, if you see what I mean. So white scratch plate, we've got 2 tones, 2 volumes, and of course a 3-position toggle switch, which is in a very, very sensible place, I might add. The pickups are popping out absolutely plenty. The bridges, I mean, people replace these with those the Tone Pros, which apparently are more fiddleable with, but they don't look like a real Rickenbacker bridge. So this particular guitar has been played. It comes from 2003, and there is evidence of play wear, and there's certainly evidence of string replacement. As you can see, the binding is missing from these 2 points, which I can only assume has come from, or are they supposed to be like that? I don't know, maybe some of you aficionados can tell me if that is how they are supposed to be. Maybe they are, maybe they're not, I don't know. But it would make sense if the binding had been removed from there by yanking the strings out and, you know, putting them back into threading. So we've got binding all the way around the body, apart from the missing bit that I've just shown you. It is an all maple construction, so apart from the full maple through neck, you've got 2 maple wings, which of course just house the controls and then give you something to rest your hand on, I suppose. So how do you know if you've got a real Rickenbacker? Well, the first thing that you want to have a look at is the jack plate, or jack plates if you will, and this is where you'll find your serial number. So you've got 2 output jack sockets there. One, as you can see, says standard, and the other one says Rick O Sound. I think that's an Irish gentlemen, and this will provide you with some stereo-ness in a recording situation. Not probably not something that I'll use, but I don't know. And of course I've got to learn how to play a bass. What does occur to me immediately with the shape of the body, it doesn't half look like that Kiss Iceman design. Do you know what I mean? Looks kind of similar, doesn't it? So these strings have been on here, I assume, for an eternity, and like Steve was saying, it's a little bit tricky to dig into, and he does feel that the bottom-E is rather big and fat. So I do have a new set of Ernie ball sacks that's going to go on it, and we'll get those on and see if that improves things in any way. So the other main way that you will know if you've definitely got a genuine Rickenbacker is by removing the truss rod. And you may have seen on the setup that we did a little while ago that instead of just one truss rod adjustment nut, there are two, and they are so clever, and they actually do straighten each half of the neck. They're well built, and they're a clever design, and they sound awesome, in my opinion. Well, let's face it, they're so famous that they must have something decent going for them. And so that really is pretty bit just plain and simple. Now you can see here that this does not surprise me at all with this thing being so old. Oh yeah, of course the serial number does indicate the year, and this is a 2003. So yes, so there is you can in fact see, if I can get it into the right light, you can actually see where that maple through neck is present, because there is just a little bit of paint sink at either side, which I would expect to be perfectly reasonable, because of course it is three pieces of wood, this whole thing, and then of course the wings tacked on fore and aft. So with all of that, I shall bid you a fond farewell. Thanks all ever so much for tuning in, and thanks to Steve, Absolute Beginner Bass on YouTube. So it's adios amigos. Ta-ra.